So I think you guys know Keith is not going to make it tonight, so he asked me to chair tonight. So we'll go ahead and kick it off right at 6:30. We got, I think, a minute left still.
Oh, relax.
Yes, you are live.
Perfect. Can we go ahead and kick it off now then, Susie?
Sure. My clock
right.
says 6:30, so.
Yeah, perfect. Why don't we do that? All right. So this is Matt Madison, acting chair for tonight of the Victor Conservation Board. Time is 6:30. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We've got a couple of folks missing tonight. Our chair Keith has to miss tonight, and Andrew needs to miss tonight, but Pat and Tim are both here along with myself. I see Ed's here. Got a couple plans or projects to review. First one, and I see Jeff is here. Hi, Jeff. Stonebrook subdivision, 1403 East Victor Road. Applicant is requesting approval for a clustered subdivision of 85 buildable lots on 100 acres in the town of Victor, with 15 acres or so in the town of Farmington, for a total of 115 acres. This is the second step in a 3-step process. Sketch plan was acknowledged complete on March 22nd of 22. And I see Jeff Smith is here. I know, so Jeff, we did, get some information in our packets. So we're aware you might be here to talk about some of the extra space that's in that parcel. You want to go ahead and talk to us about the latest updates there?
Yeah, I don't know do you have the one rendering we did to put up there or not? Well, that was, none of those are the preliminary plan. Those are all a little old.
Okay.
But
Those are all I have. I mean, if you wanted to share anything, you could.
well, I could probably. It's not that
Okay.
critical. I think with that rendering, what we have done as part of the preliminary plan that was submitted was that the storm ponds labeled B there have been moved out of that area into essentially where the other blue area was highlighted there.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I should find on but we'll see. See if we can talk it through. Otherwise, I'll dig it up out of one of our files here and display it for you. But the majority of what is dark green, with the exception of a little bit of land behind the first row of lots there on the right, on the preliminary plans, they're labeled lot 54 descending down to 43. So if you turn into the subdivision from East Victor Road, take a right on that street, just a little bit before the curve of the road is about where we would end lots with conservation areas behind them. So that little bit areas that's shown with some dark green trees and light green shading would be proposed as conservation areas of the lots. Other than that, we are still working hard at the other almost 60 acres of open space. We've got a meeting scheduled now with the town supervisors of Farmington and Victor in June, and the Genesee Land Trust Acquisition Committee to determine if we can meet all the criteria that they would want to see for acquiring all that open space under their own trust. I've been working hard at this only because I thought that the land was quite nice and should remain to be publicly accessible along the stream corridor. And not a lot of people want it, but we finally have come to both Genesee Land Trust and also Victor hiking trails. I said that if Genesee didn't want to adopt the parcel, then they would consider it. So we would have really only a little bit of our subdivision that would have conservation areas on individual lots. And those conservation easement language would probably be pretty typical of what we've done in Dorchester and others. I'm not sure we might allow, although maybe not, they probably would be fairly restrictive. So it wouldn't be that we would be allowing mowing and all that good stuff. I only hesitated a little bit. In some areas, we've allowed residential gardens if the land seems suitable, and we have to study that further, quite honestly. But realistically, we hope not to have a whole lot of conservation easements on lots. If Genesee Land Trust and Victor Hiking Trails both fail to move forward with adopting the 60 acres there, then and only then would we carve it up among the lots that are to your right there and go into the town of Farmington. Quite honestly, one of the issues is we have land both in Farmington and Victor, and I don't really know if I want to burden the lots with having ownership in two towns and two tax bills, and when it's entirely in the conservation area anyway. So practically speaking, we're hoping to have the land adopted in a way that would be accessible from the Auburn Trail. And we've had a number of walks on it with town board members, conservation board members, Genesee Land Trust members. And I guess I think there's been somewhat a concurrence that it would be nice to preserve. But clearly it isn't something that the town wants as parkland because they don't want the obligation and the burden of it. And that's okay. So we're trying hard to find somebody else.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Jeff. And so I think at this point, there isn't anything that you necessarily need from us. I think this was just getting us up to speed, right? Because we need to see how your two meetings go, Victor Hiking and Genesee Land Trust. And, hopefully at that point, you'll have some news. Otherwise, like you said,
Right.
we'll come back and do some easement. Okay.
I concur. I mean, I wish we were further along. Unfortunately, it took us a while to get the kind of negative response from the town board. It would have been good to have it 3 months earlier because we would be further in our deliberations. And that's why our preliminary plans actually call out for the ownership to be determined on much of that acreage. But yes, I'm pretty confident that within the coming months and obviously before final approval, we'll have it sorted out. And I'm hoping that, yeah, I mean, as I think, Matt, you were there for the walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's an interesting parcel, and having the ability to walk the stream corridor and also the ability to loop back to other townlands behind the Boca Park Estates. I think it's just I think it's an opportunity that we shouldn't ignore anyway for public access, because trails have become important for the town. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just personally, I would agree after walking it that I'd like to see it, be able to stay public and or become public, and also, just the not have to deal with the easements on each and every lot would certainly
Right.
simplify our lives, and also make it available for the community. So
Right.
I hope one of those two opportunities works out.
Okay, well, thank you, Matt, and the rest of the board. Yes, I think this was just more of an update on status, and that we will at some point want to address the easements on those whatever, there might be 10 lots there or whatever.
Yep.
But I think that'll be a pretty straightforward arrangement. So
It looks like it. It looks like it. So we'll deal with that when we get there. because I was going to ask about what those lots look like and all that. But why don't we wait and keep it fresh in our mind, and when we're ready to discuss that part, we'll go in depth on those parcels.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good luck.
As
on-
always, you're welcome to stay.
All right.
But we'll move to our next project.
Okay. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Next project on our agenda tonight is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but maybe you can correct me. Is it Galen Garage? That's at 7483 Dryer Road. Owners are Christian and Kimberly Galen, and they are requesting approval to construct a 1,200 square foot steel detached garage forward of their home. And Christian, I see you're on mute, but thanks for joining us tonight. Okay. We'll see if they're on or not, but Susie, could you bring up the maybe a couple of the pictures of the property? I did review it ahead of time. Oh, there
Does that
we go.
work?
Yep, that's us.
Oh, good. Thank you. So I'll join back on video again too. My 18-month-old had a little accident while I was watching, so I had to run real quick.
No problem. No problem. I'm not sure if you've ever come before our board before, but maybe by way of introduction, I can give you a real quick update on us. Excuse me. The Conservation Board, we're an advisory board to the others. So we review projects. We don't make the rules or enforce the rules, but we advise. And what we're looking for is things like, preserving land and the features of the land, water movement, trees. That's really what's in our purview. We don't get into things like traffic, and we don't get into zoning per se or any construction issues. We did have a chance to look at your packet ahead of time, so the group is familiar with some of the pictures and your request. And maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your project. Seems pretty straightforward, but maybe you could let us know a little bit about it.
Sure. Yeah. So the diagram that I sent, or the where I with a marker put where the structure was going to go, it's actually going to be forward of that. It's going to start between those. There are 4 trees there, and instead of being between the first and second, it'll be between the second and third. Okay. And the reason I chose that spot, first of all, it's got some of the flattest grade on the property. So I would have to do the least amount of either, piling dirt on or excavating dirt out in order to get it level. Mm-hmm. Also, it requires the least amount of paving to access the garage. I had to get a variance in order to put the garage in front of the house, because behind the house, to get it anywhere, I would have had to pave quite a bit more. Right. And the grade is a lot steeper in the back. So that's why I chose that spot, because it's the flattest spot on the property and closest to the driveway. It's also got plenty of buffering from the road with a row of, I think they're blue spruce, they're pine trees, whatever kind of pine trees they are. Mm-hmm. And it's, it's about 60 plus acres from my neighbor to the north, and sorry, not acres, feet, mm-hmm. and over 100 feet from my neighbor to the east. I'm not going to take out any trees. I intend to landscape around the garage, so put down some nice mulch beds and maybe some weeping cherry trees. I certainly want it to enhance the property, not detract from it. And I'm not going to have any water, sewage, anything like that.
Okay. Great. You answered almost, I think, basically all the questions, because it sounds like the reason you chose that spot would be many of the reasons that we might have concerns. So without, the spot that you've picked, you're not removing trees, it's flat, so you don't have much grading to do. Of course, earth movement would be one of the things that we'd look at, least amount of impermeable paving. As far as the variance in front, that's not in our purview, and you already passed that hurdle, so that's great. I looking at your map, ahead of time as I was preparing, I see, you know, the reason it's not your traditional, you know, the property is a little bit unique, so it makes sense to have it in, you know, might make sense for it to have it in front.
Thank you. Okay,
So maybe I can open it up to the other board members, Pat and Tim, any other comments? So no water, you said there either?
no water, no plumbing of any sort. Definitely no draining.
Christian, this is Tim. Is the plan just your normal storage of, you know, lawn equipment and things like that, or?
No, so it's really to store. I have some old cars that I collect, and since I told the board this last night, since I was 17 years old when I started tinkering with cars, I've wanted a place to work on them, and you know, one thing or another got in the way. I'm turning 48 in August, and it's like, okay, I've waited long enough. The garages are filled with big wheels and bicycles and who knows what. And so I just wanted a space where I could tinker with my cars and not have to move heaven and earth to access them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was my only real question, sort of what the utility of it was.
Excellent. Pat, anything else?
Nothing. Pretty simple and easy.
Okay.
Thanks.
I guess, you know, tinker on cars, no problem. Of course, just watch for oil and the various things that come from them, making sure they're not running off anywhere. But other than that, you've got the variance you need. That was the big hurdle. I mean, frankly, you know, my comments would be that you've addressed everything that we would be looking for. Tim, anything? I think we're good then, right? And Pat?
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree.
So yeah, our comments then would be that that you've addressed anything that you know, would be of concern to us. So you know, we're fine with the project without making you jump through any more hoops, I think.
Excellent. Thank you.
So good, thank you. And of course, you're also welcome to stay, but
Thank
we'll move on to our next agenda item. So thank you and good luck with your project.
Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome.
Talk to
Good luck
you.
with the cars.
Anybody
All
that's
right.
a fellow car nut is welcome to the garage once it's done.
Oh, I am, man. So
All right.
I just don't want to take everybody else's time. I was going to ask you about it, but we'll do that offline maybe. I'll look you up.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. See you guys.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank
Next
you.
agenda item, thanks, is the Straight Pole Barn. That's at 7479 Dryer Road. And the owners there are Stephen and Patricia Straight. And they are requesting approval to construct a 36 foot by 36 foot pole barn with a lean-to on one side of the proposed barn in the southeast corner of their parcel. I don't know that we have anyone from this project on, is that correct?
No one's on for this application.
Okay, terrific. So guys, I, you know, took a look at the pictures that were up. It was a little bit hard for me to figure out. I believe this is another, is this another thing where the barn is proposed to be in front of the home? Is that why?
It- It appears to be in the back unless I got, you know,
Okay.
disoriented.
Okay, so it is behind.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of the
Oh, there we
top
go.
left of the picture.
Gotcha.
that the
Okay, so
screen
it is behind. I mean, looking, you know, as we look at the pictures, you know, I don't see, it looks like it's, you know, maintained lawn of some sort or low brush. So I don't know that they're planning on taking any trees out. I guess the grading would be the other. I did not look that up on Encore to see what the grading looks like there. That would be another thing I would want to take a look at, is just seeing how much earth they're moving to move this, or excuse me, to install the pole barn. And I don't recall if there was water, electric, you know, really what the purpose is of it. Anybody pick up on any of those pieces?
Not really. I thought I saw a tractor drawn in one of the renderings, but it'd be a bit of a leap for me to say what they're doing with it.
Okay,
Yeah, it just lists storage on the application, so I don't know.
all
I
right.
think both of these came before us because they're over 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, just because of the size,
And-
straight up size of them.
Yeah,
So with the, relatively limited information, I mean, I think my comments would be that we would, want to limit the amount of earth movement, and we would want the owners, the applicants, to try to place this in a spot basically similar to what we just went through with Mr. Galen, in a spot that doesn't require much earth movement, doesn't require much, if any, tree removal. And, that they're limiting the disturbance to as much as possible. Didn't see any pavement. They were adding any pavement. Looks like, kind of a, large at 36 by 36, but more or less barn in the back of the property that you drive tractors into. I don't think they're paving is. So those would be my comments. Pat, anything else that I've missed?
I was just going to mention, I just read their letter of intent. I guess it does indicate no water, no bathroom, no plumbing, storing tractors, to Tim's point, on the southeast corner. I don't know. Do we want to confirm? Obviously, to your point, the location of it. It doesn't appear to be really graded, so I don't really have any issues with water, and runoff. But
Okay.
you know,
Yes, I mean, I think we do a kind of a preventative, we'd ask the applicant to try to avoid taking down trees, avoid earth movement, avoid, redirecting water on the property. And keeping anything that comes out of any of the machinery, contained and not letting it get out into the ground. Would you agree with that, Tim? You're muted still.
Yes, I think that about covers it.
Okay, that makes sense, right? Okay. Any other comments on that?
no,
Nope.
All right. Then let's close that and move on to our last piece of business, which is the approval of the May 17th minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to read those over. It was a relatively straightforward, really just one project, although it was quite a bit of discussion there, but any comments on that?
I think my only comment was Pat, I believe, was at the meeting or called into the meeting, right, Pat?
that was it. Yeah, I wasn't really able to talk too much, but yeah,
Okay,
other than that,
It had him listed as absent.
Yep.
mhm.
so Pat, you feel like, I know you weren't commenting, but you think, you were involved enough to
Well,
be
and maybe, was that the
No.
one you recused yourself?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you know
Yeah.
him,
So
so maybe that's why he's considered
Oh.
absent.
I was just gonna. So it's indifferent. It's not necessary to include me,
Okay,
frankly. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
leave you.
and
as a ghost.
I guess if he's absent, he can't, we can't approve these minutes.
We can't approve because there's only two of us then. Okay. Great.
There you go.
Well, just
Thank
as
you,
a point
Tim.
of reference, you can put it in that he was present but recused himself, and then approve the minutes as amended.
Oh. Okay.
Should you choose to do that, or you hold it over to the next meeting? Either way.
Who was there? So Keith, so we were all there, except Pat. Why don't we punt it to when we can get the rest of the group together?
Okay.
Just to keep it simple, if that's okay. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, that's fine with me. And they may have some comments on the language or something, because it is kind of a
Yeah, it's very
large
wordy.
write-up.
Yep. All right, so let's do that. So we'll we'll pick that up. We'll move that to our next agenda. Any other business, Ed? Any updates for the group that you'd like to share?
Just that this is gonna be my last meeting with you guys this go round.
Mid-year, that's right.
Yeah, we switch again. Mike Guinan should be coming in for July through December.
Okay.
And because you only have one meeting this month, this will be it.
All right.
Other than that, we had a really good turnout for the Memorial Day Parade. Well attended, a lot of people. Thought that went very well. And there's a couple more projects going on. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there's a project going on in front of Town Hall,
Mhm.
the Veterans Memorial Project. So basically, the American Legion has asked us to kind of change it a little bit because they felt that the memorial part of it was hidden. So they've made a financial, not a donation, but they've committed some finance to get a different kind of granite base for the memorial. The middle section is torn out now. The flagpoles will come down. It'll get reworked. There'll be a larger base, and the intent is to put emblems of the different services. So Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, etc., on the base part, which will all be new. And then the existing memorial will be turned around to face the street and be placed upon that new piece of granite that's coming in. So it's probably not going to happen all complete this year, but we wanted to get started on it and get as much as we can done this year. And the problem again becomes, believe it or not, supply chains type stuff, that the granite's not going to be available until later this year, early next. So we probably won't finish it till next spring when the weather breaks again. But if anybody goes by and wonders what we're doing there, that's what we're doing. And as part of that project, we also found that there was a problem with the electric that's outside in that spot. So we had to we're going to have to replace lighting to include the conduit underneath. I've already talked to both the garden club because we'll be tearing out some of the plantings that are already there and then replacing them once the project's done.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That'll be nice when it's done.
Yeah, it sure will be.
Good.
So that's it for now.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, you're
And,
welcome.
thanks for your support. Thanks for joining us
Always.
Tuesday night. It's been great. We'll welcome Mike when he's ready. Cool. All right. Pat, anything else to report or anything else on your mind?
Not yet, I should say. Should I make a motion to adjourn? Is that what you're getting at here, Matt?
No, I was literally just asking if you were good. I was going to say the same thing to Tim. Tim, anything? Otherwise, Pat can't wait to make a motion here.
Well, let me think about it. No, I'm good.
You're good? All right, guys. All right, Pat, what were you going to say then?
Motion to adjourn.
You'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Tim seconds. All right, all in favor? Aye.
I
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate